Dear students, in this session, we will extend our discussion on the theory of income determination into a four-sector model. In the previous classes, we have discussed income determination in a two-sector model and also in a three-sector model. In both models, it was assumed that economy is closed. That is, the nation has no trade relationships with the rest of the world. Now, in the four-sector model, we examine an open economy. We examine an open economy in which aggregate spending is measured by spending by three domestic sectors, that is, households, business firms, and government, plus spending by the foreign sector. Just as level of income is affected by spending originating with the consumers, business firms, and government at home, it is also affected by spending originating with the foreign consumers, foreign governments, and foreign business firms. So, in order to see the equilibrium level of income and output in the Keynesian framework, we have to consider the effect of spending originating from foreign consumers, foreign business firms, and foreign government, in addition to domestic consumers, domestic firms, and domestic governments. And as we have discussed earlier, in the context of national income accounting, it is an economy's net exports, that is X minus M, net exports, than gross exports, that measures the amount of final product secured by the rest of the world and the amount of GNP accounted by foreign sector. So, we consider only net exports rather than gross exports. And net exports is arrived by subtracting gross imports from gross exports. Net exports is nothing but gross exports minus gross imports. The reason why we include net exports because gross imports is already included in the amount of final product secured by domestic sectors. Gross imports is already included in the net in the expenditure by three domestic sectors. This is because both the domestic and foreign goods are included in consumer, business, and government expenditures. So, C plus IR plus G, if you calculate national income from the product side, in an open economy measures not only domestically produced goods and services not only domestically produced goods and services, it also includes gross imports. So, total expenditure means expenditure on domestically produced goods and services and also expenditure on gross imports. If we could segregate this C, IR and G into domestic and also foreign, that is, if you can segregate C as C domestic plus C foreign, similarly IR as I domestic plus I foreign, etc., then we can add gross rather than net exports. 2. If we can segregate C, IR and G into domestic and foreign components, then you can add gross rather than net exports to total for C, I and G to obtain the aggregate expenditure by the four sectors of the economy. But this is very difficult. It is not possible to segregate C, IR and G into domestic and foreign components. For example, a consumer purchasing an automobile, part of its components will be domestic and part of its components will be imported. And as the purchase of the automobile is taking place, it is simultaneously domestic and foreign. So segregation is not possible. So instead of using gross exports and gross imports, we add net exports to C plus IR plus G, that is spending by the three domestic sectors. So Y in that case is C plus IR plus G plus X minus M. C plus IR plus G plus X minus M. So what we do is, when we consider the spending by the three domestic sectors, we consider the entire spending by the three domestic sectors, whether the spending is on domestically produced goods and services or imported. But we know that the spending by the three domestic sectors, as it includes domestic and foreign, overstates what is known as domestically produced goods. So what we do is, we subtract imports, gross imports as a lump sum, and add gross exports as a lump sum. So expenditure by the rest of the world is added, expenditure by the domestic sectors is subtracted, so that we have Y as identically equal to C plus IR plus G plus X minus M, where X minus M is known as net exports rather than gross exports. This point was discussed in the context of national income accounting. From income side, C plus S plus T, and equating this C plus IR plus G plus X minus M, Y is equal to C plus ES plus T, C plus S plus T. Although not a national income identity, we can write C plus ES plus T plus M as equal to C plus S plus T plus M as equal to C plus IR plus G plus X. C plus IR plus G plus X, or S plus T plus M is equal to IR plus G plus X. So, as we have discussed in an earlier example, when foreign sector is included, national income accounting identities are different, net exports are added. The reason why we add net exports is, rather than gross exports and imports, is the difficulty associated with segregating domestic spending into spending on domestically produced goods and services and foreign produced goods and services.